The night I first cheated on my husband did not look like the start of an affair at all. There was no hotel room, no lacy lingerie, no dramatic music, just rain hammering on the roof of a small car in a quiet Sydney street, my plain work clothes still damp, my wedding ring still on my finger, and another man's mouth far too close to mine. My name is Hannah. I am 34. I live in a perfectly normal brick house in the western suburbs. I shop at Woolies, I pack my lunch, I answer emails on time. I have been married to Tom for 8 years, and on paper we look like the kind of couple who have their life sorted. Good jobs, a mortgage, a neat front lawn, polite smiles in photos. If you saw us at Bunnings on a Saturday, you would think we were just another solid Aussie couple ticking all the boxes. Tom is a good bloke, everyone says that. He is a tradie, kind, reliable, the sort of man who will pull over if he sees someone broken down on the side of the road, who brings the neighbour's bins in without being asked, who makes me a cup of tea before bed and kisses my forehead. He works long hours, leaves before the sun is up, comes home smelling of dust and sweat and effort. We do not scream at each other. We do not throw plates. On the outside, there is nothing dramatic to point at. But what no one sees is how a life can slowly turn from warm to lukewarm, then from lukewarm to cold without either of you ever meaning for it to happen. For a long time, I told myself that this was just adulthood, that being tired and flat and a bit lonely was normal, that it was selfish to want more when I already had what so many people wanted. But somewhere along the way, our marriage started to feel like a routine I was performing instead of a relationship I was living. We watched the telly on the couch with our phones in our hands. We talked about bills and rosters and what was for dinner. We kissed each other on the cheek on the way out the door, and the part of me that once felt interesting and alive got quieter and smaller until I almost forgot she was there. Then Liam walked into my office and into that quiet space like a gust of fresh air. He started a few months back, early 30s, messy dark hair, shirt sleeves rolled up, a crooked little smile that made you feel like he had just let you in on a joke. He was not movie star handsome, but he was present in a way that is rare these days. He would look you in the eye and actually listen. He remembered the things you said, the small things that everyone else let slide past. The first time we properly spoke was in the office kitchen on a Tuesday afternoon. I was watching the kettle boil, exhausted from spreadsheets and tiny stresses, thinking about what to cook for dinner and whether Tom would be home on time. Liam walked in humming under his breath, leaned on the counter beside me and said I looked like I was one annoying email away from quitting and running off to Byron. I laughed because it was exactly how I felt. I told him it was more like 3 emails. He asked if it had been a rough day, and I said it had been a rough year. And instead of making a joke, he just looked at me and said quietly that he got it. And that simple moment of being really seen landed in me like a stone in still water. After that, it was small things that added up. Jokes in meetings, shared eye rolls when management sent another pointless memo, a biscuit left on my desk with a note that said, "Emergency sugar for emergency spreadsheets," or "You survived Monday hero effort." I told myself it was just friendly, just work banter, that I was a married woman and I knew where my boundaries were, but my heart would jump in this tiny, ridiculous way whenever I saw his name pop up in my inbox. And I hated that it did, and I loved that it did. The first message that came through after hours was a stupid meme about our boss. I was on the couch with Tom watching the footy. My phone buzzed. I opened it. I actually laughed out loud. Tom did not even glance over. I replied. Liam replied, Half an hour vanished into back and forth messages, while my husband sat less than a metre away. It still did not feel like cheating. It felt like having a friend who saw a different side of me. But our chat slid quickly from jokes into late-night honesty. We talked about feeling stuck, about how life can turn into a straight line you never really chose, about the pressure to always be sensible. One night he asked what I would do if I could disappear for a week and no one knew where I had gone. I stared at the screen for ages before typing that I honestly did not know anymore. That I had spent so long being responsible that I had forgotten what I even wanted. He wrote back that he reckoned I would remember pretty quickly, and that message sat in my chest like a secret for days. The first lie I told Tom because of Liam was tiny and casual. Liam asked a group of us if we wanted to grab a drink after work. I told Tom I had to stay back to finish a project. Technically, that was not completely untrue. We were at the pub across the road with laptops still in our bags. There were 6 of us, beers and loud music and work stories, harmless on the surface, but every time Liam's shoulder brushed mine, or he leaned in to say something just to me, I felt a sharp jolt of guilt and excitement tangled together. On the train home, I watched my reflection in the window and told myself that nothing had happened, that I was just flattered, that loving my husband and enjoying attention from someone else could exist in the same space, that I would pull back before anything went too far. That same night when Tom reached for me in bed, and I mumbled that I was tired, my heart twisted, because for the first time in a long time, the part of me that felt awake was the part that had been texting another man at the pub. Not the wife lying next to her husband. The line finally snapped on a night that looked boring from the outside. Grey sky, proper Sydney rain, heavy and sideways. Buses running late, everyone wet and cranky. I had stayed back to finish something, and by the time I got downstairs, the bus stop was packed. Liam was standing under the awning, hair wet, jacket half soaked, checking his phone. He asked if Tom was picking me up. I said he was stuck on a job on the North Shore, and I would just wait for the bus. Liam looked at the rain, then at me, and said to come with him, that he would drop me home because he was heading that way anyway. I hesitated. I knew saying yes was stepping closer to a line I had been circling for weeks, but it was late. I was tired of always making the sensible choice. My shoes were already soaked, and I was so sick of being the reliable one that I almost felt reckless. So I nodded and said, "All right." We ran through the rain to his car, laughing like teenagers as we splashed through puddles. By the time we got in, we were both drenched, breathless, the heater blasting, windows fogging up straight away, wipers thumping back and forth. We drove in silence for a few minutes, the kind of silence that hums with everything unsaid. Then he spoke, very quietly, and told me that he liked me. Not in the mate way, not in the friendly colleague way, but properly liked me. That when his phone buzzed and it was me, he felt stupidly happy. That he thought about me when he made his coffee in the morning. That he knew I was married and that this was a terrible idea, but pretending he did not feel it was doing his head in. I could have laughed it off. I could have said that he was just bored, that I was just another married woman with a crush, that we should keep things light and go back to memes and biscuits. Instead, I felt my fingers press into my palm around my wedding ring, and I heard my own voice say that I felt it too. The second those words left my mouth, I knew I had crossed something I would not be able to reverse. He pulled into a quiet side street not far from my house, the kind of road no one pays attention to. He turned off the engine. The sudden stillness made the rain on the roof sound even louder. For a moment we just sat there breathing, hearts thudding. Then he leaned towards me slowly, giving me time to pull away, giving me one last chance to be the woman I always thought I was. I did not take it. When his lips touched mine, it was soft at first, then hungry and searching, like we were both trying to drink back all the years we had spent being sensible and tired and good. We did not climb into the back seat, nothing dramatic like a movie. But that kiss was enough. That kiss was the moment where my marriage shifted from something that existed in reality to something I was betraying in secret. When I finally stepped out of his car, my legs shaky, my mouth still tingling, I walked up the driveway with rain dripping off my hair and my keys cold in my hand. Tom was inside, probably on the couch, probably assuming that I had been stuck on the bus. I paused on the porch and looked at my own front door and felt like a stranger in my own life, the kind of woman who cheats on her husband in a fogged-up car on a Tuesday night. The kind of woman I used to judge. That was the first night I cheated, and at the time I thought I could box it up as a one-off, a stupid moment in the rain, carry on as if nothing had changed. But secrets like that do not stay neat for long. They leak into everything. And very soon there would be a message I should not have opened at the wrong time. A near miss in my own kitchen with Tom just a few steps away. A moment where my two lives came frighteningly close to colliding. If you want to hear how close I came to being caught, what I said, what I hid, and what I almost lost when it all nearly blew up in my face, come back for part 2 of my story.